Welcome and welcome back to Through the Journey with Jennifer, and I am continuing this I Choose Me series. Today's episode is a big one, and honestly, I think it's a real tender one because we're talking about what it looks like to listen to your body for the first time. If you're anything like me, or maybe even like most women I know, especially over 40, you were taught to push through. That's what we've seen in our elders and our grandmothers and our moms, to push through the exhaustion, to push through the stress, to push through discomfort. Somewhere along the way, I think we learned that slowing down meant we were weak or lazy or falling behind. But here's the truth that I am learning, and maybe you are too in this season, is that our bodies are always speaking to us. And when we finally stop long enough to listen, everything starts to change. I remember when my body finally got my attention, and it wasn't gentle. I was exhausted, emotionally, mentally, just drained and running on fumes. And I was still saying yes, still showing up, and still telling myself, I'll rest later. But my body said, nope, the time is now. For years, I ignored the signs of the constant fatigue, the tight shoulders, the headaches, the emotional heaviness. I just couldn't shake it off, but I kept going. I told myself that this was just life. It was just me getting older. But deep down, I felt it and I knew something wasn't right. Listening to my body meant doing things that felt uncomfortable, that were different from the norm. And what I mean by that is just saying no without over explaining, resting without guilt, moving my body differently, not harder, but kinder, eating in a way that actually supported my energy, and honoring emotions instead of stuffing them down. And in all honesty, the transformation was not overnight. It took me some time, it took practice, it took patience. And most of all, it took a lot of unlearning unhealthy habits. But little by little, I did start to feel more like me again, maybe even better. I was more present, more grounded, more aligned with who I was becoming, not just who I had been for everyone else. So here's the thing, science actually backs this up. Chronic stress, lack of sleep, emotional overload, even when ignored, don't just disappear. They show up as burnout, anxiety, inflammation, hormone imbalance, and emotional exhaustion. So for me, I think it showed up in my body years ago. Um, I was having so much body pain. I was tired, um, just physically, mentally, emotionally drained. Um, but I kept going. I kept going. I didn't stop. I didn't listen to my body. Um, even when I tried to relax and lay down and rest or take my time doing something, I felt like I should be doing more, or I could be doing better. Especially when I would lay down. My body would try to rest, but my mind wouldn't stop. You know, I would think about everything. And because my mind wasn't able to rest, my body couldn't rest. And that's where that tense tenseness comes. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Tenseness comes from in your body. Um, and like I said, I just kept going. I just kept going. I just kept going. And finally, I realized, okay, from a mental perspective, I needed to get some help. And that's when I reached out to my therapist and started therapy. And then a few months after starting therapy, my body was just getting worse. Like the anxiety, um, the tension in my neck and my shoulders. And finally, I had this anxiety attack right when I was on a conference call. I felt it coming on. And I was trying so hard to finish and wrap up this call. And as soon as I finished, it all just hit me. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Like, if I don't fix this, I am going to die. And I don't want to die. I want to live. I want to experience different things. I want to create more. I want to travel. I still want to see my children, even though they're adult children, live their lives. And, I want to continue to be with my husband and for us to grow and do things. And it was like, okay, well, if you want to do these things, you've got to make some changes. And you've got to make some changes now. And I'm thankful for the therapy because I was able to take some time off from work. I did FMLA leave from work. And I took that time to rest and also think about what changes did I need to make in my life. What and how was I going to make those changes? And I will share this. I am a recovering perfectionist. So, I like things a certain way. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Sometimes I may go above and beyond. And that was part of my problem too. And I had to fix that. So I had to really slow my mind down, and just really figure out the things that I needed to change and do different in my life so that I could feel better, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. From a physical standpoint, I started going back to the gym and doing the treadmill and doing the elliptical. And I noticed the more I kept going, the better I felt. So that was one thing I realized. I have to keep doing this. Not just the health benefits physically from moving my body, but it did something for me mentally. It was like giving me some clarity and pushing away the fog, and I was able to think better and think clearly. And then I had to change the way I was eating. Um, you know, I stopped drinking a lot of soda. Um, I've always been a coffee drinker. Like that runs strong in my family. Like, my mom, my grandmother, were all coffee drinkers in the morning, so I've seen that from a young age and I've took that on as, one of the things that I would do every morning. And I had to think to myself, is this something that you need to have every morning? Can you substitute this? Can you go without it? So I started detoxing, I guess, myself from the caffeine. Um, And not to say that I don't drink coffee now, I just limit myself, you know. I drink more water. I eat more fruit and vegetables. Um, I cut down on my red meat. And I try to eat more of like a pescatarian with a dab of chicken every now and then. But you know, those lifestyle changes is what I needed. And little by little, as I started to make those changes, I felt it in my body. And one thing I will share is when I did take that FMLA leave and I really let my body rest, that is when all the tension in my body left. And I was like, all this time, all these years, this has been stress in my body. And I know if I didn't listen to my body and my mind when I had that panic attack, it would have led to something more. And I probably wouldn't be here today, you know? So I am thankful for that. I am thankful that I listened. I am thankful that I took advantage of, you know, the therapy and the option to do FMLA from work because I really needed it. I've been running and doing literally since I was 15 years old. I was a mom at 15. I was married at 21. I had 3 kids by the time I was 25. I was working. I went back to school. First, I got my associate's degree. Then I went back a couple of years later, I got my bachelor's degree. Went back a couple of years later and got my master's degree. I just kept going. And my body finally said, knock, 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 slow your ass down. And I'm so glad that I listened. And my message for anyone else who feels this way or going through it, baby, listen to your body. Listen to your body. You don't have to rush. You know, you can take your time, make moments where you can sit in quiet, in peace. Delegate if you have, you know, children or someone that you can delegate tasks to so you can have that time for yourself, you know. It's funny now because in this season that I'm in, I'm realizing that I don't like to cook. Okay? Now if it's something that I have a taste for or something that my husband wants me to cook, sure, no problem. But being in the kitchen 7 days a week, cooking dinner like I did when the kids were younger, I'm not doing that shit no more. No, these kids is grown. You can take care of yourself. You know how to cook. If you don't know how to cook, you got a car, you can go find yourself something to eat. So what I call in my household is fend for yourself. FFYS. And if I'm not cooking, my mom lives with us. If she's not cooking, I will send that text out in a heartbeat. FFYS. And everybody knows what they need to do. And that's one thing that I did to help me and in my realization that I was doing something that I did not enjoy doing, and I'm doing it for everybody else. Whereas they grown and they can figure it out. Right? So I want to pause just for a moment. And if you can, I want you to do this with me. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Now I want you to ask yourself, with no judgment, no fixing, how does my body feel right now? Is there tension somewhere? Is there fatigue? Is there calm? Is there resistance? Listen to what your body is telling you, really, before it's too late. Now, if you are wondering where to start, I have 3 gentle ways to begin to listen to your body. And the first one is to pause and check in. Once or maybe twice a day, just stop and ask yourself, what do I need right now? Not what should I do, but what do I need? Number 2, respond instead of overriding it. If you're tired, rest, even if it's for a few minutes. If you're overwhelmed, breathe. And if your body wants movement, choose something supportive, not punishing. Okay? Number 3, I am a huge journal person, so I'm always gonna throw something in there about journaling. Write down any patterns that you notice, your energy level, your emotions, your physical sensations, and ask yourself, is your body trying to protect you from something? Is it guiding you towards something? Listening to your body is not selfish. It's not indulgent. It's an act of deep self-respect. And every time you listen, you are choosing yourself. I would love to know what your body has been asking for lately. And as always, I always ask for you to share it in the comments, message me, tag me on social media. Your story, your comment, it may be exactly what another woman needs to hear to help her through. Until next time, remember this: your body is wise, your intuition matters, and today you choose you.